That's all I think about. Okay, if machine mind readers don't scare you enough, this might. The odds are that you're just a few years away from losing your job, not to somebody younger or cheaper than you, but to one of these. Robots, which are getting smarter and better a lot faster than anybody thought. Our next guest started warning about job losses due to robotics and automation years ago. Now he says a looming economic collapse is much closer as artificial intelligence and automation grow by leaps and bounds. Billionaire real estate investor and founder of the Greene Institute and the Greene School, Jeff Greene, is prepared to personally warn President Trump that he needs to focus on what you say is a much closer crisis. When do you foresee this happening?
Well, it's interesting, Liz. I think that what globalization did to the blue-collar workforce in manufacturing over 40 years, AI, machine learning, robotics, big data is going to do to the white-collar workforce in the next 5 to 7 years. It's interesting. Just yesterday, I was reading a Price Waterhouse study, I don't know if you saw it, that came out that indicated that 38% of all jobs today will be automated and disappear within 15 years. So I'm not the only one saying this.
Right.
Now.
In fact, we did read it, and we had it as an element to put up on the screen because it's a very stark number. But you and I go back about, what, 7, 8 years?
Yes.
I think about 6 years ago, you started telling me, Liz, watch out, whether it's self-driving vehicles or, you know, because they were in such an early stage, people are going to lose jobs en masse. What do you foresee is the industry that will be hurt the most?
Well, you know, I think it's going to be all the kinds of service jobs. I mean, I just had lunch at a very fancy restaurant today, so I got the menu and all the items were, you know, with these weird descriptions. I was thinking, wouldn't it be so much better if I could just have an iPad, I could look at the actual picture of the dish, I could see how many calories, how many grams of fat, all the ingredients, and I could then, just like when you go online on Amazon, I could push a button and say, I'd like to rate them from most popular to least popular. Why am I having a waiter standing there writing things down, going to the kitchen? And so that job already is much better done by AI. You know, we have a problem in West Palm Beach where I live. There was a problem of traffic. And so they said, well, we need to get machine vision cameras at all the intersections to use algorithms to direct the traffic. It wasn't long ago till we would say, let's get a policeman standing there directing traffic. And then what's happening is, if you just think at almost everything you do, it will soon be better done by artificial intelligence or a machine.
Well, look, way back in 1930, John Maynard Keynes had written something about our grandchildren. I think it was called Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren. He predicted that because of machines, we'd only have 15-hour work weeks. But how are people going to survive on something like that? We've got viewers right now worrying, is my job going away? What would you say to them?
Well, look, I mean, look, I'm having this conference, as you know, next week, and we're having a world-class group of thinkers. I mean, Ray Kurzweil and Larry Summers and Tom Friedman and Arnie Duncan and, David Cameron's coming from the UK to talk about Brexit. And what we're talking about is, what would a utopian world look like without work for most people? Because work is not just, for most people, let's face it, in America, and most of your viewers, they're working two jobs just to make ends meet. But if we can figure out a way to use technology to not just enrich the business owners because they have less employees, but to cut down the costs of the average American's lifestyles. Yeah. So maybe, encourage 3D printers that can build houses so we can start making these panels very inexpensively, and your mortgage payment gets cut in half.
Listen, before we go, you founded a school for your kids in Palm Beach because you didn't like the schools that were already there. I had an opportunity to go to the Greene School, and I was amazed because what you're doing is you're making children at a very young age better able to deal with this kind of thing. I think we've got some video here. That was you showing me how they had made some artwork on the wall, but you're making them very fluent in digital efforts, and you're teaching them things with MakerBots where they can do 3D. But there was this one point which I found very interesting where I actually came upon a robot, and let's watch this. Who's this? Peter? Oh my God, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Oh, so you're in the other room, right? Look at this, oh my God. That was a teacher who was in a different part of the building. He can be in two places at once and answer kids' questions while he's working at his desk, etc. But are you for or against robots? You're using them now.
Well, look, we have to embrace technology. What you saw there was if a child's at home, they can basically log on, and when they're sick at home, still move the robot into their classroom and not miss a day of school. And that's it. Look, we need to embrace technology. It's not going to go away. We have to live with it. We have to love it. And we have to just understand what are the negatives, what are the positives, and make sure that the positives work for everyone and the negatives avoid the consequences.
Jeff Greene, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Congratulations.